Bring me time. Hello. Hello, and welcome to Worthy Wednesday. Y'all, today I'm excited to, sorry, I'm looking at my notebook. I thought I had it on the right page, and I do not. I'm excited to be with you on this beautiful sunny, can y'all see the sunlight coming in? Yes, this beautiful sunny day in Vancouver, Washington. I am ecstatic that it is sunny today. Y'all, let me tell y'all something that's so funny. So many people here in, I guess, the Pacific Northwest and anyway, so Oregon, Washington, this particular area of the country, they are not used to the sun as much as we are from New Mexico and then coming from Arizona. It is hilarious to me. Like yesterday, the high was 88. Okay, it was beautiful. The problem is it's still really chilly in the morning. Like it was 50 something the other day. I was like, you guys is it summer? According to the calendar, it is officially summer. I'm gonna need for y'all to go ahead and be sunny in the summer. So anyway, whenever I go to work, people are just like, oh my gosh, it's so hot. And I just say, peeps, my sister lives in Tucson. It was 113 today. And they're just like, I don't even know how people survive and all that heat. And I'm just like, I don't know how y'all survive without the sun. First of all, I tell them that this beautiful brown skin that you see, do you know how that is maintained? First, it's maintained through chocolate milk. Secondly, it's maintained through the S-O-N, through the S-U-N. So I am telling you, I do not know how people live out here without the sun. It is ridiculous. So this whole week, it has been sunny. And I literally have had my sunglasses on every day. And it's so funny because people are they're like, I'm just sweating. And I'm just like, really? Anyway, but I am thankful because I'm like, bring it on. Jesus, bring on the heat. Bring it. So I'll let y'all know as the summer months progress, whether or not the Pacific Northwest will be where I live. Well, not specifically during the winter, God help me. But certainly in the summer, I'm like, it's a no, kids. It's totally a no. But anyway, welcome to Worthy Wednesday, good people. I'm happy to see you, worthy women. Y'all, we are almost to the end of June, which is absolutely unbelievable. Today is June 23rd. Tomorrow is my mama's birthday. Her birthday is June 24th. And I am too excited. So I'll get to call her and scream real loud and say happy birthday. I'll probably call her on the video too. But this month, in the month of June, this is June. So probably in April, I think, is when I really began to know I wanted to study time primarily for me, but I feel like whatever I learn, I need to share with y'all. So I do. So I wanted to study the month of June in the year of 2021. That is the year that we are in. It is the year of me. So y'all know I'm usually talking about me. I'm not talking about you, but if you relate to me in what I'm saying about me, then it is definitely for you. Anyway, so in the month of June, we have been talking about time, and here is the definition. It is the measured or measurable period during which an action, process, or condition exists or continue. Now, throughout this month, we have talked about time in relative terms so you can understand what it really looks like. So 86,400 seconds in a day, 1,440 minutes in a day. And at first, when I first did the calculation, I felt like that really wasn't a lot of time. And then I thought to myself, what am I saying? How can 1,440 minutes not be a lot of time in one day and you get them every single day? And then I thought about, if you multiply that times the number of days that you've been alive, like you're 32 or 16 or 27, you multiply that times, oh my gosh, think about all the minutes that we have wasted. I'd rather not. So this month we've talked about time. We've talked about it in relationship to your past, where it needs to die and you need to let it die. And we talked about how important it is that certain secrets that have happened to you, you need to confront them, destroy them, and then move on. Then we talked about time in relationship to our present and what exactly are we doing right now with our present time, the present gift of time. And so then I was like, oh man, today's the last Wednesday of the month. But it isn't. Hot dog. Because I was like, oh no, I'm torn. I want to talk about two things. Then I looked at the calendar and I was like, way to work that out, Jesus. So tonight I decided that we would talk about something that I feel is so relevant. And tonight I want to talk about time out. Just time out, worthy women. And the first thing I thought about when I thought about time out, now I don't know, I'm just going to talk about me because, well, I can. When I was growing up, time out was not something that my parents used. It was not something that they believed to be relevant in our household. We did not use timeout. I didn't even know there was such a thing until I had other friends that don't look like me. And they would be like, oh my gosh, my mom put me in timeout, or I was in timeout for this. And I would be like, what's timeout? I was like, you mean like your clock broke, your watch broke? What are you talking about? Because timeout, according to the definition, that particular phrase, it is used as a quiet period. Okay, listen, this makes total sense to me now. I mean, the dictionary is powerful. When you know what words mean, then you're really smart and you can use them properly. So timeout is actually a quiet period. I said, oh, well, that makes sense when they say you need to go to your room for timeout, which is supposed to mean they go there for a quiet period because that phrase is used specifically for the discipline of children. Well, when you are a teacher, not of big people, but of little people, timeout is used to help redirect behavior that you do not approve of or is not appropriate for the classroom. You also use it because you want to avoid embarrassing the child so they don't feel isolated or singled out when they are the ones acting up in your classroom. Now, as a teacher of little people and you were teaching a foreign language, I was teaching Spanish, I taught them English and Spanish of timeout or sit down or let's practice to be calm. And that really works when you were in the classroom. But as a mother, I mean, I think I might have utilized the concept of timeout. I never said out loud, Gianna, you're in timeout, or Gianna, you need to go to your room. I was a little bit more active, and that's the word I'm going to use tonight in my discipline. We certainly believe in, well, not y'all, but me, in the facets of discipline that involve, and I'll say it biblically because it's funny, the rod of correction. Anyway, so timeout was not something that I felt as a parent was effective. I felt like it was free time. Basically, you got to go to your room and kick it while I calmed down and kicked my stove or kicked my refrigerator or broke plates because I was so angry at whatever you might have done. And I just said, man, you need to get a punishment for that, huh? The correction needs to come immediately after the offense. So, anyway, I am a product of immediate correction. And I would say I'm pretty good. 9 out of 10, I'm pretty good. So I think there is a time and a place for timeout. No doubt. I really think that does work in certain scenarios. I feel like it is effective. And educationally, I have learned that. But I'm just telling you as a parent, now, timeout, we didn't run that at my house. That drill didn't run at my house. It certainly didn't run when I was growing up with Brother Leroy and Sister Cynthia. So I think it's so interesting just how culturally families are different when they rear children. So tonight when I kept thinking about timeout, because I really thought about this last week a lot. And I was like, oh, man, I can't teach you because we're out of time, blah, blah, blah. And when I thought about timeout, I said, I want to examine time in the reference of it being out, right? But then I said, people only relate to time by using the phrase timeout. So that's why I had to tell you what it means. It is a quiet period. So I want you to look at time in relationship to you being in a timeout with time. Okay, so that's the first way we're going to look at it. So it says that it is a quiet period. Now, here's something that I don't know if anyone else is willing to admit. I mean, I am, and that's why 2021 is the year of me, so I'm going to just talk about me in this instance. Y'all, I really have a hard time being quiet unless I'm asleep, okay? I am constantly up for engagement. Okay, I want to know things. I want to know why things are a certain way. I want to learn as much as possible. I like to observe people in their natural habitat because that's where you learn a lot about people, but you really learn more about yourself and the perception you have of people or places or things or circumstances because you were in a timeout. Okay, so let me give you a practical example. When you're at work, you were in a 7 to 8 hour timeout. Do you know what that means? That means while you were working, you were in a relatively quiet period, meaning unless you were being actively engaged or you were having a conversation, you're running a staff meeting or whatever, you are in a space at work where you have time out. You have time out from your family, time out from your bills, time out from your responsibilities, time out from relationships, time out to just take a moment and reflect on what's really happening. Now, does that mean you're not engaged at work? No. It means that when you step away from a specific environment, you are taking a time out from that environment. When you step away from home and go to church, you're in a timeout because you are now at church and you are now observing, worshiping, participating. When you take a step away from home and you go to work, you're in a timeout. When you take a step from home and you go to the gym, you're in a timeout. You are in a relatively quiet period that is allowing you to focus and reflect on other things going on in your life. See, a timeout provides time to think. Y'all, I want you to know that when I thought about that, I realized in my head how important it is to have timeouts. Now, here's where it gets a little gray. Maybe not for you, but for me. Because sometimes you can take a timeout in something and never go back to re-engage where you were. So the problem with the timeout, and here's what I can relate it to little people when I was teaching elementary school. What happens when a child goes to timeout, if you don't immediately follow them over there once they make it to the timeout area, to that particular section of the classroom, wherever it is, that child will use that time to reflect on many things, but not on what he or she did incorrectly in order to land them in the timeout area. Now, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but have you ever been in a situation and all of a sudden you were in a timeout and you don't even remember why you were in the timeout? Have you ever been so discombobulated in your mind? Have you ever had so many things going on throughout your mental faculties that you literally were doing one thing, took a time out from that, went somewhere else, and didn't even remember why you needed a timeout? That you didn't remember why you needed a quiet period. I'm gonna give you examples that's real practical. Sometimes, like when Gianna was growing up and she walked early, she started walking at 9 months. Anyway, I couldn't really do too many things unless I could have my eyes on her. For example, I had to take a shower when she was still asleep because once she woke up, I had to put her in the bathroom and lock the door because she was roaming everywhere. Okay. Now, I needed a timeout from her. Oh, I needed to go take a shower in peace and think about all the things I thought I needed to think about. But I would literally not have a quiet time in the shower because I kept sticking my head out. Gianna, what are you doing? She was in the toilet. She was pulling the toilet paper. She was opening the cabinets. She was taking stuff out. So I'm jumping in and out of the shower. I mean, if you're a parent, you can totally relate to this. And you were just like, put that down, leave that alone, whatever. But I couldn't let her be in the house by herself because I would literally be running through the house naked trying to get a hold of her because she was walking. So it's funny to me that I think about, I went into the shower to have a timeout from being a parent. But when I got into the shower, I forgot that I was in there because I needed to give myself time. I needed a quiet, relatively quiet period in order to reflect on the things that I needed to take care of. I wonder, worthy women, I mean, this is probably just me and I'm okay with that. I wonder if I'm the only worthy woman that takes the time out from the timeout. Because I'm like, what was I doing in here? Have you ever opened the refrigerator and said, what did I come to the refrigerator for? Have you ever picked up your phone to make a phone call, to text, and you start looking at social media? Have you ever walked downstairs to your car and forgot the car keys? Have you ever left your purse anywhere? Have you ever left your cell phone anywhere? And you think to yourself, what did I need this time out for? I don't even remember what I came in here for. Worthy women, I am here to tell you tonight that that is the power and the awesome reliability and reality of timeouts. See, we think that it's good for us to go do one thing and because we need to take a break from something else. But here is the truth. When you take a time out, you think that what you left will automatically fix itself when you go back. But let me bring it back to my students who would sit in the timeout area. I would immediately have to go over there and speak to them about their behavior and say, please tell me why you're in the timeout area right now. Senora Copeland, because I blurted out and we're supposed to raise our hand. I said, oh my gosh, that is correct. You're supposed to raise your hand. I said, but why do you keep blurting out? I don't know. I just want to tell you the answer because I've been studying my Spanish. Oh, I appreciate that you were studying your Spanish, but what are the rules when we're practicing our Spanish? That we raise our hand, that we don't blurt out. Let me tell you something right now, worthy women. Sometimes when you're in a timeout, you need to have an immediate conference with yourself and say, why am I in timeout? Why do I need a relatively quiet period in my life right now? And when you ask the question, can I just remind you, to be honest, you need to be honest. If we take a time out in our relationships, we say, oh my gosh, we just need space. Like, we're not on the same page. You know, he's not saying what I'm saying. And I don't really know if we're going to be together. I mean, we're just having a very difficult time communicating. But in reality, are you telling me y'all don't want to be together? Because, see, we like to use big words because we're adults now. Instead of actually dealing and being accountable to the actions that led to the timeout. See, y'all thought that timeout was really about the time. Worthy women, timeout is about the things, the behaviors, the conversations, the lifestyle that you have lived prior to needing a timeout. See, timeout is a reflection of decisions that we have made with time. Y'all, wait, do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand that when you hit a timeout, sometimes timeout is a diagnosis, timeout is a divorce, timeout is a breakup, timeout is a bill that you didn't expect, timeout is a relationship that went to the left and you thought everything was all right. Timeout is when you get a call from the principal. Timeout is when you get a call from your parent. Timeout is a direct reflection of decisions and choices I have been making with what my time up until the moment I am now required to have a quiet period. So what are the choices, Carrie, that I ask myself constantly that caused me to arrive at the necessity of a timeout? See, I have to walk away from the group, and the group might just be me. The group might be my thoughts. The group might be relationships. The group might be people. The group might be work. But what have I done in that area or in those areas that have led me to need a relatively quiet period? Timeout. I mean, maybe no one else needs a timeout. Maybe no one's actually lived in a timeout, but I'm here to tell you, worthy women, I think I've probably spent some years in a timeout. And the reason why I remained there is because I didn't immediately go to myself and correct my behavior. I didn't immediately go to myself and hold myself accountable for my actions. I didn't have people in my life that would say, Karee, what are you doing? Stop it now. See, we think that a timeout is just a place, like this is what my students would do. They would twiddle their thumbs. They would stomp on the floor. Now, these are kindergarten, first and second, so you have a little bit more parameter. They would move their feet. They would fall in and out of the chair. See, that's what we do when we're in a timeout. We whine and we sulk and we complain and we're just like, why are we in this? I want to get out. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. But why wasn't I saying that prior to me getting in the timeout? Why wasn't I saying, Karee, you should be making better choices about money or about finances or about education or about life, career or moving or anything? Why am I not saying those things prior to the timeout? I'll tell you why I'm not saying them. I mean, and this is about me. This is not about you. So you don't even have to raise your hand if you relate to it. The reason why I don't say it prior to is because I think what I'm doing is right. I think what I'm doing is okay. I think the way that I'm treating people is acceptable. Well, it's acceptable to me, isn't it? I think the way that I am managing my life is acceptable because it's acceptable to me. But then only when I hit a timeout, I realize that maybe the way that I've spent my present time is not exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So that to me, worthy women, is a direct indication that a timeout is not a time for you to throw a fit. Wait, maybe not you, me. Okay, maybe when you're in timeout, you don't throw fits. Maybe you're mature enough. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm not. Sometimes when I'm in a timeout, I am grumpy. I am angry. I am frustrated. I am sick and tired of things not working out the way that I want them to work out. I am tired of certain things or people or circumstances saying stuff, and I'm like, don't say that to me. You need to be accountable. Get out of my life. But I am telling them to do the very thing that I don't want to do, and I have to have a timeout. But what got me right here is that when I am in a timeout, I am still living in present time. So every moment that I am in the timeout, I have to decide how I'm going to live right now. Because the only way to get out of timeout is to acknowledge that I did do something that was not correct. I did not meet the expectation. I did not complete the goal. I did not treat Sister Cucumber the way I was supposed to treat her. I told a lie about Sister Penelope and she got fired. I stole Brother so-and-so's pocketbook. Whatever the case may be, if I don't acknowledge immediately that I am the reason that I am now in this timeout, do you know you're going to go back to timeout? And every time you go back to a place that you shouldn't repeat, you should never repeat a lesson. You know, it really gets me sometimes when people say experience is the best teacher. Is it? Do I really need to experience having a tire roll over my toe to know I should have moved back? No, I don't. But when I don't want to be accountable, sometimes the weight of my irresponsibility causes pain that I cannot fathom. Wait, hold on. Okay, that's preaching to me right now. If I don't recognize my responsibility in my own life, how in the world am I going to tell someone else who's in a timeout how to get out? Anyway, so that's part one. That's timeout. A relatively quiet period. So, then, worthy women, I had to go to the dictionary because I felt like, well, we're not always going to say timeout in relationship to me going from one place to the other and making a decision and being reflective and changing myself in order to be better. I said, so what does out really mean? Now, we know about outside. And I was like, oh, okay, so I get it. If time is out, that means it's over, right? And I was like, well, no, because time is never really over. I mean, something can end, but time continues. Did y'all hear that? Something can end, but time continues. When you're baking a cake, the timer goes off. That's the end of the time for that cake. But time is still going even after the timer goes off. Okay, anyway, so out is an adverb. That is the main part of speech. An adverb for the word out. I was like, Huh. So like when I learned about adverbs in high school, when I was teaching English, we talked about ly. So most adverbs end in ly. Not all, but most of them end in ly, like quickly. That's an adverb. It tells me how I did something. Okay, but there are 5 definitions for the word out, but I want to focus on definition number 3. Out means to the point of depletion, extinction, or exhaustion. Now, in relationship to time, if your time is out, that means you have either been depleted, you are facing extinction, or you are in a place of exhaustion. So let's go over that before we go. So depletion, let me give you an example. If I say my food ran out, that means my food supply in my refrigerator is currently unavailable. Okay, that's depletion. That's what it means. Now, of course, I went to the dictionary again, since I was in the dictionary right then, and I said, well, I know what deplete means. Like my thought to understand depletion means that something runs out, right? No. Depletion means to empty of principal substance. When you are depleted of time, you then are forced to make a decision from a vessel that is empty. Wait, what? Wait, when I say I am out of time and I am depleted, wait, y'all, I'm talking about us in our life every single day. There are moments that you feel depleted. Do you know what that means? You are empty of a principal substance. You know what that principal substance is? You have nothing left to give. We have nothing left to give, but how many of us are still running around depleted? Y'all, we're out. We are out. That means we have nothing to give, but we are still giving. What exactly are we giving? We can't do anything because of depletion. Why do we, not y'all. Why do I think if I can go and say, oh my gosh, I'm depleted, I'm empty, like that's a badge of honor? No, ma'am, Carrie. If you are depleted, you're not good for yourself. You're not good for the people that you love. You're not good for anybody. But why? Why in my brain would I think if I am time out, I'm depleted? Carrie, that is a sign that you need to get somewhere and sit down. Worthy women, if you are depleted, who are you helping? Let me just tell you, nobody. You cannot give from an empty vessel. Number 2, it says out is to the point of depletion, extinction. Okay, so actually, I don't know if y'all think this, but I think of extinction only in relationship to mammals. I don't know why. That's probably because that's the way that we've learned it growing up. But that's not what extinction refers to. Extinction means no longer active. Let me give you an example. There are volcanoes in Hawaii that are no longer active. They're still volcanoes though. Oh, okay. Just so we're clear, if you're no longer active in one area, you're still you. Okay. Don't think if I am not a boss, I'm not me. If I am not a wife, I am not me. If I am not a mother, I am not me, because I feel like I'm extinct. But let me help you right here. If you are extinct, that means you're no longer active in something. It doesn't mean you're dead. It means you're not active in that role anymore. It doesn't change who you are on the outside and the inside. A volcano is still a volcano, even if it doesn't erupt. Why? Because the essence of who it is and what it is remains intact, even if it's no longer active. Okay. Extinction also means it no longer exists. Okay, so ain't no more dinosaurs. That's the best example I can give you, okay? We talk about endangered species, those that are on the verge of extinction because of man and how we treat the earth. Okay, y'all get that. But when your time is extinct, traces of who you thought you were are left, right? So you think, well, this is who I am, right? I've done these things. I'm this person. I am this. But you are not active. So your thoughts about who you once were on the outside are no longer viable because that's not who you are on the inside. So it's like this. When you're 7, you're 7. When you're 10, you're 10. When you're 16, you're 16. But it doesn't mean the part of me that loved to play at 7 is extinct. It means that part of me is no longer active. Why? Because now I have new interests. I have new thoughts. I have new projects that I want to go and explore. But the part of me that desires to play all the time, that part of me doesn't exist anymore. But if I'm talking about that in relationship to time, in relationship to me saying, I need a time out, I'm depleted, I cannot be who I am supposed to be because I am empty. Oh my God. Woo, woo. I am empty. And now the part of me that I want to give is facing extinction because I am no longer active. Active in what, Curry? Active in what? See, people think that your time and what you do with your time is an indication of your activity or your productivity. Let me tell you right now, I know a lot of people doing absolutely nothing. Girl, I give to the homeless. I sing at church. I do this. I do this. Yeah, that's nothing. Okay? Because if you're depleted and you are no longer active in the thing that you are ordained to be active in, excuse me, sir, ma'am, you will be extinct. Your time will no longer exist. Worthy women, I thought to myself, I need a timeout for real. Now, the third part of the definition, let me turn the page. It says, to the point of depletion, extinction, or exhaustion. Y'all, I said this morning, I am exhausted. And then when I was studying again, I was like, I need to stop saying that. I find it so interesting. And I've told you guys, what you believe in your heart, you already believe in your head. And you say it out of your mouth. I said today, I am exhausted. And what cracked me up when I was studying again tonight before this, I said, isn't it funny, Corey, you thought that was like really saying something? Like people would be like, oh yeah, girl, I totally get that. Which is what everybody said that I said it to. Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted too, blah, 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 blah. And then I thought to myself, what kind of confession is that? Number one, I need to stop saying that. Okay. I need to stop saying because if I keep thinking that I am, well, my body is going to respond to that because it's going to be like, oh, you tired? Okay, lay down. But see, there's a difference between being tired and exhausted, but we're not going to talk about that. So exhaustion means all tuckered out. You know what we say when kids play all day or they swim all day? Girl, these kids, they are exhausted. They ain't got no more energy. They're done. They're finished right now. It means to consume entirely, to be used up. Wait, have you ever been used up by people? Whew, by circumstances. But let me get right to where we live. Have you ever been used up by you? Have you ever done something that caused you to be completely and entirely consumed because of you? This chick who thinks everything is her business. This girl who thinks I can handle pretty much anything and I can answer and I can do what I'm supposed to do. Y'all, I thought to myself, I have been consumed entirely with other people's business. Oh my God. With other people's relationships, with other people's money, with other people's plights and all that stuff. No. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not a good brother or sister if you're not involved with people that you care about. But what can you do if you are depleted? That means you are an empty vessel. If you are extinct, that means you're no longer active. That means you ain't got nothing for me to take because everything in you is dormant. But then I thought to myself, well, if I'm completely depleted and extinct, and then I'm exhausted on top of that, I have nothing to give anybody. And what's worse, worthy women, I don't even have anything to give myself. But here's the definition of exhaustion I want you to remember tonight. It says to deprive of valuable quality. When I am exhausted, my patience, it's pretty low normally. I'm not even kidding you. But when I feel exhausted, I have a negative amount of tolerance. Negative. And because I'm getting older and I'm making better choices, thanks be to the Lord, I have learned to control my emotions because I can come across very not so kind. And a lot of people have said as I've grown up that I was intimidating. My presence was well known. Okay, well, 9 times out of 10, I don't think that's a problem. I think it's great. But sometimes I have learned that in order for me to be heard, especially when I am exhausted, here's what gets me. I'm exhausted because I'm making the wrong choices. I'm exhausted because I'm using my time incorrectly. I'm exhausted because I'm not living in the present. I'm living in the past. And instead of me taking myself to a timeout because I need a quiet period of reflection to make Carrie accountable for the things that she's doing, I feel like saying I'm exhausted is a better representation of me. Thank God this is about me and not you. But when I am exhausted, I've had to literally make a decision to be aware of my emotions and aware of my tone so I don't crush other people because of the choices I am making as an empty vessel. See, when I'm in a time out, I'm empty. All of the things in me that God has placed in me lie dormant. Do you know why? Because I'm not being active. And then I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted, worthy women, because it takes everything I have to function. I am consumed entirely with exhaustion. I'm out. I'm completely out. I'm out. Like I have nothing to give, but here I am still trying to act like I'm Superwoman or I'm really doing something. Can I just be honest, Carrie? You ain't really doing nothing. You're doing nothing, girl. Who are you benefiting when you're exhausted? Who are you benefiting when you are on the verge of extinction? You are literally dormant. Who are you benefiting, Carrie, when you are an empty vessel? Y'all, I could slap myself right now. I'm not even kidding you. So when I thought about I'm exhausted, I thought about this is not just a reference to the physical appearance, the physical state of your body, but it is a wake-up call to how I live. Can I be consumed entirely and then be deprived of valuable quality because I need time out? Y'all, do you understand what it means to be out? What in my life needs to be out? What? What do I need to get rid of that depletes me, that causes my extinction and continually leaves me in a state of exhaustion? I'm going to get real right here, worthy women, and then we're going to wrap it up. Number one, I realized I could probably be the problem for myself. You know how people say sometimes the biggest enemy is you? Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Because if you make a decision in your mind, make a decision in your heart, and that comes into agreement with who the Lord says you are and what you are capable to do and what you were placed on the earth to do, you are literally unstoppable. And you will never be an empty vessel. You will not lie dormant, and you will never be consumed, God in heaven, entirely with things that are happening in your life, whether it's past, present, or soon to be. Why? Because you made a decision of what needs to be out of your life. What? Worthy women, what needs to be out? Is it people? Is it people's opinions? Is it the job you work? Is it relationships? Relationships that you're in and you're like, I probably shouldn't be in this relationship, but I don't want to be the odd man out, so I'm going to be in it anyway. Is it objects of my affection. See, what I really wanted to call it was idols, because that's exactly what it is. It's an idol, something that takes your attention, your affection off of the thing that it should be on. Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is it other people's business? Is it superstars? Is it celebrities? I don't know what the object of your affection is, but whatever those things are, they need to be out. See, maybe people won't tell you, but I'm going to tell you, worthy women, sometimes the thing that needs to be out is negative thinking. You need to stop self-sabotaging. You need to stop self-doubting. You need to stop, cease and desist, not believing in yourself. Get that out. And once you do that, you need to have a quiet period of reflection. I wonder, in the month of June, how many times you found yourself, I can tell you every day this month, I am more aware of my time every single day. And tonight, I am so aware that in order for me to be out, I need to eliminate the things that are trying to take me out. Because see, at the end of the day, worthy women, I don't have anyone else to hold accountable for being empty, for being dormant in my gifts and talents that God has so graciously given me. And I don't have anyone else to blame when I am completely deprived of a valuable quality but me. Nobody has the power to take anything. I have to give them permission. So, worthy women, I need a time out. And I need it every single day. And the moment I get to that quiet place, I am no longer going to sit there and kick my feet and throw a temper tantrum and be upset because I am in a timeout. I'm going to immediately look to my left or immediately look to my right and say, Corrie, how did we get here? And now, Corrie, that we are here, what are the things that only you can do to get out of timeout and get back into present time? Worthy women, I love y'all. The month of June is lit. I'll see you next Wednesday.